Is there any question, by the way?
Participant, any question from your side? I think they are still in the break.
Okay. My presentation is visible?
Yeah, sir, visible, sir.
I am going little bit fast because there is no other option.
Participant is asking for your PPT.
Yeah, that I will send. No problem.
Okay,
I will
no
send it to
problem.
you. I will send
Okay,
it to
sir.
you and you can circulate among them.
Yeah. Anyway, I am recording the sessions so
Yeah.
that anyway is available to the participant.
Mm.
That will be available to the our SIT YouTube channel as well as on Atal's
Correct.
website also. They are going to store all those database, na?
Yeah.
That will be available to all the participants. There is no
Yes.
worry as such.
Yeah. Yeah.
Still, if you share the PPT, so I will share those things with
Yeah. Yeah.
participants. है ना? I think, sir, you can start so that we can finish on the time.
Yeah. 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 It's
Okay,
almost
sir, over to you.
3:30. Yeah.
Yeah.
So far what we have done is that we have dealt with the diffusion problem independently, then pure convection problem and convection diffusion problem. So you must have noticed we have not considered the pressure term, or we have not dealt with the momentum equation as such. And now what we are see in the momentum equation and energy equation, both are almost same. Only thing is that in momentum equation we have a pressure term, and in energy equation we don't have the pressure term. We have a source term in terms of heat generation, but then that source term, heat generation term, does not make too much of difference, because it's very easy to discretize. But the moment the pressure terms come in, the problem starts, and uh, therefore to obtain the solution to Navier-Stokes equation becomes little bit difficult. So what we will do, we will try to understand how to resolve the pressure term and what are the remedies available. So my session is on solution of Navier-Stokes equation on staggered grid. Essentially, we will be talking about a simple algorithm. Simple, what is simple? That also I will try to explain you the meaning of simple. Simple is not simple. I mean, it's not straightforward. It's really complex, but we will try to understand that complexity. And for obtaining the solution to Navier-Stokes equation, we will again consider a problem which is considered as a beginner's problem in uh, computational fluid dynamics, which is a lead-driven cavity flow problem, wherein there is a square cavity in which there is a fluid fielding and there is a lead which is continuously moving at velocity u equal to u0. At some velocity it is moving. Based on this velocity, I can calculate the Reynolds number as rho v d by mu. D is the size of the cavity. So the fluid will start moving inside the cavity with certain Reynolds number that is equal to rho Vd by mu. Rho is the density, mu is the viscosity of the fluid inside, and this is lead moving. Again, a hypothetical problem, but there is a solution available to such kind of a problem, which is available in the literature. We'll discuss that solution also. The governing equations which we'll be using are continuity equation, that is divergence of rho u equal to 0, momentum of the energy transport equation. So of course we are not going to deal with the heat transfer part here. We will be only looking at the fluid flow problem. So del by del T of rho u plus divergence of rho u vector u mu grad square u minus grad p dot I cap that gives me del p by del x. Again here del by del t of rho v plus divergence of rho u vector v plus mu grad square of v minus grad p dot j. These are the momentum equations. The Navier-Stokes equation especially, which are applicable to laminar flow. Then there is an energy equation also, but we will not be dealing with that. And we can write down a common equation which we have discussed at the beginning. Again, this lead driven cavity problem can be uh, the first step is always to make a domain discrete representation of the domain and carry out the grid generation, which we have talked about 2-3 times, so we'll skip. But now if I make use of such kind of a grid generation, it becomes um, difficult for me to um, implement the solution of entire Navier-Stokes equation. What is the problem? Especially when the pressure terms comes into picture. Now see, for example, if I want to write down the pressure, I mean for the purpose of I mean my pressure term in x momentum will look like this: summation over E stress space Pf into delta Sf. That what is Pf? Is a pressure. Pressure into area is a force. So Pf into delta Sf is a force acting on east face. So that can be written as Pe minus delta S, Pe into delta S plus Pw into delta Sw. This is x direction force. I can write down y in y momentum equation. It will be Pn delta Sn plus Ps delta Ss. Now we don't know the values of Pe and Pw because we know the values at cell centers. We don't know the values at the faces. So in that case, what happens if I want to carry out the, 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 the interpolation and find out the value of E? See, Pe minus Pw can be written as, so this is Pe minus Pw, turns out to be this equation. Pe minus Pw, Pe can be replaced as P capital E plus P capital P upon 2 minus P capital P plus P capital W upon 2, that is equal to P capital E minus Pw by 2. Now you look at this equation carefully. Pp has gone out. Pp is no more in the equation, and our objective is to determine Pp. So we cannot I mean afford this. I mean if my P suffix P goes away, how will I find out pressure at the cell center under consideration? And that's a problem with pressure term. And if such a equation has to be satisfied also, the pressure distribution will look like something like zigzag pressure field, which is really unphysical and not possible, and hence the kind of a grid which we have used here does not help us. Similarly, if we want to solve the continuity equation, summation over east west north south of FMF gives you summation over rho, summation over all the faces of rho uf into delta sf. If you try to resolve this, uf is for x direction it is ue minus uw, for y direction it is un minus us. Again, if I use some interpolation, you will find the expression for the term for up goes away from the equation. Up is no more there, and that is what we want to find out. So I cannot afford this, and hence it is not possible to make use of a grid which we have so far used. So what is the remedy? The remedy is a staggered grid. So what we do in a staggered grid, let's say this is my regular grid. Yellow cell centers shows the cell centers of a regular grid. And then what we do on the vertical faces of the cell center, we assume that there lies a cell center around which I can build a cell, and this cell center is called a U control volume cell center. So this green one which I have shown all on the vertical faces are the U control volume cell centers, and on the horizontal faces we assume that there lie a cell centers around which I can build some cell, and this cell center is the cell center for 1 second. मी बोलतो लेक्चर सुरू केलं बोलेल. Hello. Yeah. So on the horizontal lines we have the V cell control volume cell centers, and on the vertical we have U control volume cell centers. And what we do when we solve the equations, we apply the x momentum equation to U control volume cell centers, and we apply y momentum equation to V control volumes. This helps us to handle the pressure term appropriately. Now see and then for U control volume and V control volume and main control volume, the original control volume is designated as a main control volume or scalar control volume. So what we do, I have shown here you the running indices for the main control volume, but the running indices for the U control volume and V control volumes are different. We will look at those. So what we have done essentially, we have a main control volume like this. This is my PP. On the vertical side of a main control volume, on this side we have UP. What is UP? UP is the cell center for U control volume under consideration. And this will be then UW. This is cell center for U control volume with cell west neighboring cell center. This is my VP. PP, this is my VP, so this is going to be VS. This is cell center for V control volume. This is south cell center for V control volume. Similarly, so now around this cell center, if I construct the cell at the vertex, we will have VP here like this. At the bottom left vertex, we will have VS. Here we will have V. So each neighboring of VP will be here, and here we will have VES. So this is my U control volume. On the vertical surface of U control volume, I will have PP and I will have P capital E. Here is P capital E. So this is my U control volume. This is my main control volume. Similarly, I have V control volume. So here is VP. Onto bottom surface of VP, I have PP here. You can see. Onto top surface of VP, I will have PN. Because PP is here, its north will be PN. And this is going to be UP here. This is vertex UW. This is UWN. This is UN. So this is my V control volume. All these control volumes are shown here, which are superimposed over each other. So the U control volume, V control volume, and main control volumes are shown here. What we do, we solve continuity equation as applied to main control volume. We solve X momentum equation as applied to U control volume, and we solve Y momentum equation as applied to V control volume. That helps us to resolve the problem of a pressure term. We will see that how does that happen. Now the continuity equation. Let us look at the finite volume method and go one by one. Continuity equation, all the outward mass flow rate on the faces of the control volume is shown to be positive. So rho u at E into delta SE is the mass flow rate across each face. This is across north, this is south, west, and this is south. Summation of all these should be equal to 0. That's what my continuity equation is. So FMF delta SF, where FMF is outward mass flux, this has to be equal to 0. This is shown as applied to the main control volume. But then if I represent it in terms of, essentially now on this east face we have UP, on this west face we have UW. So I am expressing here it in terms of the values when the staggered grid is used. So this is UP, so I can write down, of course this is the main control volume, but the values which are shown are the values when the grid is staggered. So rho UP into delta SE. Here rho UW into delta SW. Here it will be rho VP delta SN. Here it will be rho VS delta SS. So this is the continuity. So and the summation of all these is your continuity equation. So and that is equal to 0 is your continuity equation. So FMF equal to rho UMF and mass source. So if I consider this main control volume, I can say summation over the east-west forces of FMF delta SF equal to 0. That's my continuity equation. That's a discrete representation of a continuity equation. Now let us look at the unsteady term. We will be trying to obtain the equation for the U control volume, V control volume, and main control volume. The main control volume we normally use to obtain the solution for temperature. V control volume we use to obtain the solution for V velocity. U control volume we use to obtain the solution for U velocity. So if it is an unsteady term, my exact representation in the integral form is C into integral over delta Vp del by del T of rho phi dV, which is, so phi is U, V or T depending on whether we are solving X momentum, Y momentum or energy equation. And in the algebraic form, it can be then finally written as C into phi P at n plus 1 minus phi P at nth level divided by del T into rho delta Vp. So we have done several times, so I'm not going through the details here. Now let us look at X momentum lost by the fluid. This momentum lost by the fluid in the control volume represent essentially the convection phenomenon. I am now writing the equation as applied to the main control volume only, but then later on we'll switch over to the U control volume. If it is a main control volume, then rho U phi at E east face into delta SE, rho V phi, this is my flux multiplied by area, flux multiplied by area, flux multiplied by area, and so on. Phi is U if it is X momentum equation, phi is V if it is a Y momentum equation. Now let us, so that's what here what we did, we try to apply it to the main control volume, but when it comes to the solution of X momentum equation, we need to calculate the X momentum lost by the fluid in the control volume. How do we calculate that? Now here I am applying the same to the U control volume. Onto east face of U control volume, we have phi PE, here we have PP. Now, what is X momentum lost? It is nothing but mass flow rate into the velocity into area. Mass flow rate is FMEU. What is FMEU? Mass flow rate across the east face calculated using U. UE is the velocity along this face into delta SE. Similarly here FMW. Now how do we calculate the mass flow rate on the east face? Because I don't know the velocity here. So what we do, look here, we do the interpolation. We make use of UP and then here we will have UE. We take the average of these two and we assume that velocity prevails here. UE plus UP divided by 2 into rho. That gives me FMEU. Similarly, here FMNU. I don't know the velocity here to calculate mass flux, mass flow rate. What I do? I make use of these two velocities and take the average. So FMNU, you can see it is VE plus VP divided by 2. Similarly, here it is FMWU, it will be VP plus VS divided by 2. FMWU, VP plus V, UP plus, here it is UP plus UW divided by 2, because I need to take the U velocity. Similarly, for south phase, to calculate FMSU, I need to know the vertical velocity. So I take the average of these two velocities. You can see here Vs plus Vsc divided by 2. So these terms are used to calculate the mass flux across the faces of U control volume in terms of the cell center velocities. We know the velocities in UP, UW from our initial condition or initial guess. The same thing, Y momentum loss. If I want to calculate the Y momentum loss, because I am applying Y momentum equation to V control volume, I'll be considering the V cell center, VP. Again, this is FMEV into VE into del. This VE we will be anyway calculating using convection scheme. Similarly, in the earlier case, this UE will be calculated using convection scheme, but then mass flux is to be calculated by carrying out the interpolation. Here also the same thing is done. FMWV, this FM is calculated by considering the U velocity, that is UWN plus UW divided by 2. This velocity is calculated UN plus UP divided by 2. This velocity is calculated by using VP and VN. See, FMNV, VP and VN divided by 2. And this velocity, vertical velocity, is calculated by VP, and the velocity here will be VS, VP plus VS divided by 2. See here. So these are the expressions which are used to calculate the mass fluxes across the faces of V control volume. These are the expressions which are used to calculate the mass fluxes across the faces of U control volume. Similarly, when it comes to the convection of heat, it is mCp delta T. Now this is my rho U into delta SE is M. Cp is there and T is there. mCpt is my heat convected through east phase, and energy equation we solve by applying it to the main control volume. Similarly here Cp, and this U is known to me, it is UP. This V is known to me, it is Vn. This U is known to me, it is UW. This V is known to me, it is US, VS. Thus we calculate this is the physical representation of the convection heat transfer, which is shown here. So here determination of mass flux is straightforward, because the value of velocities at the cell centers on the faces of the main control volume are known to us, because on the faces of the cell center volume lies the cell centers of U control volume or V control volume, and that helps us to calculate the mass fluxes. This is a physical representation of convection heat transfer in terms of the values of a staggered grid. So convection flux on the face of the control volume then can be calculated. So if I know mass flux, I can calculate convection flux. Convection flux on the face is C into Fm Fi into Phi F. Then if it is convection flux, convection of a momentum, then it is FCU or FCV, which can be calculated Fm Fu UF Fm Fv into Vf. This Vf or UF, these can be calculated using convection scheme. But the mass fluxes you can calculate from the known velocity data. Mass fluxes are nothing but when you calculate the convection flux, mass fluxes are the convecting variable, and this is your convected variable. Convected variable is always calculated using convection scheme. And that's for this equation is for the energy, convection of energy, heat essentially. Cp into FMFT, TF. TF is calculated using convection scheme. FMFT is calculated using the known values of mm, of the velocities, that is by carrying out the interpolation. Discrete representation of, so once you know the convection occurring across all the faces, I can write down the expressions for CPT. CPT is nothing but summation over east, west, north, south faces of FCFT or FCFV or FC. So this is for X momentum equation. This is the convection, total convection occurring across all the surfaces, total convection of X momentum. This is total convection of Y momentum. This is total convection of heat. Total convection of X momentum is given by summation over east, west, north, south faces of FCFU. That is convection flux of momentum, X momentum. This is convection flux of Y momentum, and it is multiplied by the corresponding area to get the total convection. So this is total convection across X direction, across total convection in the X direction for X momentum equation. This is total convection in the Y direction for the Y momentum equation, and this is total convection for heat in the as applied to the main control volume. Similarly, we see what we have done. We have tried to calculate the convection, total convection. Now we'll be trying to calculate the total diffusion. Diffusion for X momentum equation, Y momentum equation, diffusion for energy equation. The diffusion for X momentum equation is calculated by using the viscous forces. This is mu into del U by del Y represents the shear stress. That shear stress is multiplied by area, that gives you the total force. This is the total viscous force. Similarly, here the total viscous force in X direction. The total viscous forces in X direction are represented here in terms of velocity gradient. When it is applied to X momentum equation, it can be written as, for example, here the gradient can be written as UN minus UP divided by delta YN. I mean, by considering U control volume, I can write down here equation like this. So this gives me the discrete form of the viscous force acting on a surface of the control volume. This is also a discrete representation of the viscous force acting on the surface of the control volume, U control volume. Here it is shown in terms of a staggered grid. UN is there lying here, which was not shown in this particular diagram, which is shown here. So UN minus UP divided by distance between two, that is delta YN, into mu, that gives me shear stress, and to that if I multiply by area, I get the total force acting on this surface. Similarly here, UP minus US divided by distance between the two into mu, that gives me shear stress. So this gives me and multiplied by area, this gives me the shear resistance, shear force in X direction acting on this face. Similarly here also I have written this in terms of an equation, but when it is a vertical face, on the vertical face, we do not get the shear force which is acting in X direction. But then for the sake of writing, I have written these equations. Similarly, viscous force acting in the Y direction. If we consider the viscous force acting in the Y direction, then we have to make use of a Y control volume or V control volume. And for V control volume, I can write down the viscous forces in the similar fashion. So this is the physical way of writing the equations. I have written the same viscous force, all the viscous forces acting on the V control volume. Again, we take into consideration the shear stress. Mu into velocity gradient is the shear stress multiplied by corresponding area. Again, mu into velocity gradient into corresponding area. That gives me the viscous forces acting in y direction. Similarly, heat transfer, it is there in the 16, can be given in terms of k minus k del t by del y, minus k into temperature gradient multiplied by area. So this is minus k temperature gradient on the waste phase multiplied by area. This is diffusion heat transfer, diffusion heat transfer, diffusion heat transfer for all the phases. It is shown here in terms of the values, well, in terms of a staggered grid. The same thing. The gradient can be replaced in terms of Tp minus Tw. For example, here Tp minus Tw. In the next slide, it will be clear. This is, sorry, here it has to be Tp. Tp minus Tw divided by delta Sw into delta S multiplied by K. That's a diffusion heat transfer. This is also a diffusion heat transfer. So temperature gradient multiplied by K, that gives. So this is what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to explain the terms in terms of physics. I'm trying to do the physical representation of the term. So I can now calculate the total diffusion of a phi. This phi can be u for x momentum, v for y momentum, and t for energy equation. So FdU is mu into del u by del n at the corresponding phases. FdV is mu into del v by del n at the corresponding phases, and FdT is k into del t by del n at the corresponding phases. So I can calculate dpu, dpv, dpt. This is for x momentum, this is for y momentum, this is total diffusion occurring across all the phases of a control volume because of, and I mean this is total momentum transfer across all the phases of the control volume because of diffusion. X because of diffusion of x momentum. This is diffusion of y momentum. This is diffusion of heat. The D represent total diffusion. The next is pressure term. The pressure term can now be written as summation over is for x momentum equation. It is some, because the pressure in y momentum equation will be on north and south phase, but the pressure in x momentum equation is only on east and west phase. Pressure always acts in the direction normal to the phase. So when it comes to writing an x momentum equation, we need to write only forces on east and west phases. So summation over east west phase of Pf delta Sf is a total pressure force acting in x direction. So this is my Pw into delta y, this is my Pe into delta y, but this can be replaced in terms of a staggered grid. When it is applied to x momentum equation, it is minus Pw into delta Sw minus Pe into delta Se. So Pe is now, this Pe can be replaced in terms of P capital E. This Pw can be replaced in terms of P capital W. The pressure term in y direction can be written as for north and south phases in the same fashion. So this is Ps delta x is the pressure force on south phase. This is Pn minus Pn delta x is the pressure force and acting on the north phase. The same is shown for the y momentum equation, V control volume. So this is my representation of the pressure forces. Here we have Pp instead of Ps, or we have Pn instead of Pn, P small n. Now I am writing the entire x momentum equation. This is my unsteady term. It's in terms of u. It is as applied to u control volume. This is my convection, total convection, which can be represented by these terms. This is convection across east phase, convection across north phase, convection across west phase, and convection across south phase. If I do the algebraic sum of all these, what I am going to do is I am going to obtain total convection occurring across all the phases of the control volume. that is equal to the pressure. So these are the pressure forces which are acting on the pressure force. Unsteady term, convection term, pressure term, and we have diffusion term. So this is this u. So this u represents that it is applied to the u control volume, and this represents my x momentum equation. Similarly, I can write down y momentum equation. Now unsteady term is in terms of v. This is unsteady term of a y momentum equation. This is convection occurring, total convection occurring across y direction. Total convection occurring across y direction, in a y direction across all the faces. These are the pressure forces acting in y direction, and this is total diffusion occurring across y direction. Everything is shown physically. Similarly, energy equation. The first term is unsteady term, total convection of heat occurring, and this is total diffusion of heat occurring across all the faces of the control volume. The same is shown physically here. This is my unsteady term. This is all convection terms which are a part of total convection, and this is the heat generation term which has been, sorry, the heat conduction term which has been shown here, which is helpful to calculate FDFT. So this is how we obtain the discretized form of equation, discretized form of the x momentum, y momentum, and energy equation. So having said this, now it is, I mean, once we know what are the equations, we have to devise the methodology to solve those equations. So now we will look at the methodology to solve these equations. What we will do, we will look at only x momentum equation. We will look at only x momentum equation and we'll try to solve how the x momentum equation can be solved. In the same fashion, we can also solve y momentum equation, and energy equation is easy to solve. In fact, we dealt with the convection diffusion problem. So now the thing is that the equations which we have written here, x momentum equation, this x momentum equation can also be written in the form shown here. AE into UE is equal to summation of ANB, UNB plus B plus PP minus P into AE. What is N here? N indicates the dimensionality of the problem. Let's say it is two-dimensional problem, so this will be A east, A west, A north, A south, like that. This is U and B is nothing. Again, we can write it for all the four directions. This kind of equation can be obtained by using the x momentum equation here. What we do, we collect together all the terms which are associated with east face together, all the terms which are associated with west face, north face, and south face together, and we put those in the appropriate bracket, and the common is taken out of the bracket, and that is always a velocity. So we can write down equation in this form, which is designated here as equation A. 4 U neighbors are there for 2D and 6 for 3D. In this case, the neighbors, these are neighbors, N stands for neighbors. The term B is defined as earlier, but the pressure term is not absorbed in this source term. Pressure term is separately written. B, whatever is left from the equation is kept in the B except pressure term. So pressure term is separately written here. Since the pressure field is also to be calculated, it will be inconvenient to vary the pressure term, pressures in the momentum source term. Because we want to calculate the pressure term, pressure field also, we cannot put this term into B. The term PP minus PE into AE is the pressure force acting in U control volume. Do remember, this is a pressure force acting in U control volume. Now we want to solve this equation. How to solve this equation is, we can write down in the same fashion y momentum equation also. So for y momentum equation, it will be, instead of U, this will be V. A n Vn summation over A n B V n B plus B Pp minus Pn now. In the earlier case, it was Pp minus Pe. Here it is Pp minus Pn into An. Earlier case, it was area was Ae. Now area is of a north face. Pp minus Pn is a into An is appropriate pressure force. Now let us come to the solution methodology. Having written all those equations, let us look at the solution methodology. The momentum equations can be solved only when the pressure field is given or is somehow estimated. So try to understand, whenever you want to solve the equation, momentum equation especially, you need to know, you must be able to guess the pressure somehow. I mean, you have to make certain guess. Unless the correct pressure field is employed, the resulting velocity will not satisfy the continuity equation. So if you are able to guess the pressure field correctly, you will be able to calculate the velocity correctly. If you are not able to guess the pressure field correctly, you can make the correction in the pressure field. The moment you do the correction in the pressure field, there will be corresponding correction in the velocity. And this, if you do iteratively, you are able to obtain the solution to velocity as well as pressure. How? That we will see. The velocity pressure. So unless the correct pressure field is employed, the resulting velocity field will not satisfy the continuity equation. So the velocity field based on the guess pressure. Let us guess some pressure and let us designate it as P star. The moment I guess some pressure, and if I put this gas pressure in the equation here, what I will obtain is a gas velocity. So gas velocities in terms of gas pressures can be written as AE UE star. U star is a gas velocity. UNB is a gas velocity. PNB, PP star is a gas pressure. PE star is a gas pressure. So we guess the pressure, and in terms of a gas pressure, we write down the velocity, which is gas velocity. Similarly, this has been done for y momentum equation. Let us say this is my equation B. The equation A was the equation written in terms of actual velocities. This is equation A, or this is also equation A. Now let us say this is my guess and this is correction. Guess plus correction should give me the actual pressure. This is guess velocity plus corrected velocity, that should give me the correct actual velocity. Guess velocity plus corrected velocity, that should give me the actual velocity. So now if I subtract equation B from equation A, if I subtract equation B, this is in terms of actual velocity, and these are equations from in terms of a gas velocity. From actual velocity, if I subtract gas velocities, or from actual pressure, if I subtract gas pressure, what I shall obtain is the corrected pressure or the corrected velocities. So the equation, if I do A minus B, the equation which I obtain is the equation in terms of corrected velocities. So this is the momentum equation, X momentum equation in terms of corrected velocity. What I do, I approximately write it as by omitting this term. Why do I omit this term? I am going to tell you later. But at this point of time, let us omit this term, and approximately then I can write down AE UE prime is equal to approximately equal to PP prime minus PE prime into AE. Now let us say let us take this small a onto this side. This capital A is the area. This small a is a coefficient. Do remember, one is area and another is coefficient. So now capital E divided by small e, a, let us assume it as d. So what I obtain is ue prime is equal to de into pp prime minus pe. This particular formula which I have written is called a velocity correction formula. See, so if I know the pressure correction, I guess certain pressure, then I make certain correction in the gas pressure. Initially I guess certain pressure, then from gas pressure I calculate gas velocities. Then I check whether my gas velocity satisfy continuity equation or not. If it doesn't satisfy the continuity equation, I make correction in the pressure. And when I make correction in the pressure, the correction in the pressure helps me to calculate the correction in the velocity. So this is my corrected velocity. And this corrected velocity, if I add to the gas velocity, I get actual velocity. The same thing can be done for wire momentum equation also. This is the same thing is done for wire momentum equation. This is my, so equation A minus B. This is my wire momentum equation in terms of corrected velocities and corrected pressures. I omit this term, I get the corrected velocity momentum equation in terms of corrected velocities or prime velocities, and then this prime velocity is written in terms of dn into pp prime minus pn prime, which is a velocity correction formula. This corrected velocity, if I add to gas velocity, I obtain the actual velocity. Now the question is how to calculate the pressure correction. That's the issue. For pressure correction, what we do, we make use of continuity equation. To determine the pressure correction, we use continuity equation. See, my continuity equation is del rho by del t plus del by del x of rho u plus del by del y of rho v is equal to 0, which is physically written here. In the discrete form, I can write down rho p minus rho p at 0 upon delta t into delta v. That's this unsteady term. Plus, all these quantities can be clubbed together and put into one bracket. Rho u at east face minus rho w at west face into delta y. Delta AC and delta dash w are delta y. Plus rho v at north face and minus rho v at south face, and that give into delta x, and that should be equal to 0. This is my continuity equation in the discrete form. In the algebraic form, this is a differential form of continuity equation. Now from this physical institution, I can write down the discrete form of the continuity equation. Now in this equation, if I substitute all the velocities from velocity correction formulas, for example, ue is replaced as ue star plus d into pp prime minus p. Uw is similarly replaced. Vn is replaced. Vs is also replaced from the velocity correction formula. In the velocity correction formula, we have pp prime pn prime, pp prime pe prime. Similarly, all the pp prime values will be there. From all those pp prime and p values, what we can do, we can build an equation like this. What we do, we collect all the terms with pp prime together and take pp prime common, and rest is kept in the bracket, and that is termed as ap. Same thing we do for pe prime. We collect all the terms of pe prime together and we can determine its coefficient as a. Pw prime similarly, pn prime, ps prime, and so on, and whatever is left is kept in b. Now from this equation, if I know from initial condition the pe prime, pw prime, pn prime, and ps prime, I can calculate pp prime. So this particular equation can be used for obtaining the pressure correction at a cell center under consideration, for a cell under consideration. So this is so this is my sorry 4. So this is my pressure correction. Thus I can calculate pressure correction. The moment I calculate pressure correction, so what I have done, I have used the continuity equation to calculate the pressure correction. The moment I do the pressure correction, I can calculate the velocity correction. The moment I know the velocity correction, I can calculate the velocity. The moment I know the velocity correction, I can calculate the velocity. Then I am, for the sake of your understanding, I am just giving you the expressions which we can obtain for various coefficients. A turns out to be like this: AE, AW, N, AS, and AP. And BE is B turns out to be, and as I said, whatever is left is put into B. So B turns out to be this quantity. Now look at this quantity. This quantity represents the discrete or algebraic representation of continuity equation. Look at the equation carefully. It represents continuity equation. Now, if this B value turns out to be 0, the term B in the pressure correction equation is essentially a negative left-hand side of a discretized continuity equation. Thus, if B is 0, the starred velocities do satisfy the continuity equation. It means those are my final velocities for the, it doesn't require any more correction. No velocity correction is required, and thus I obtained the velocity field. The term B is thus a mass source which the pressure correction must annihilate. By carrying out pressure corrections, by doing the pressure correction, we must annihilate B, and then whatever is obtained is my corrected, is my final velocity. This particular method which we have seen up till now is called semi-implicit method for pressure link equation, which is a simple method, which is a short form for simple, which was proposed by Patankar and Spalding in 1972. It is which was later modified by Patankar again, which called a which is known as a simpler method, and then there is a simple consistent method also, which was modified by Durmal and Radbai in 1984. There are few modifications. I'm not going to deal with those modifications, but the most popular methodology to obtain the solution for the problem is the simple method, which I have just now discussed, which was developed by Patankar and Spalding. I'm happy to share with all you that Professor Patankar, who happened to be a faculty at University of Minnesota, is alumni of College of Engineering Pune, wherein I taught for almost 20 years, and with the guidance, under the guidance of Professor Patankar only, we introduced computational fluid dynamics as a course of College of Engineering Pune. That College of Engineering Pune was the first institution in this particular region to introduce computational fluid dynamics at undergraduate level. Later on, it was introduced at the entire university level and in the entire country. I'm just sharing with you the simple algorithm here. The algorithm goes like this: enter all the inputs and material properties and all the boundary conditions, do the grid generation as we have done, set the initial conditions for U and V, set the boundary conditions for all U, V, and pressure and everything. We have to mention the boundary conditions. We'll see how the boundary conditions are defined. Then guess the pressure field P star. Solve the momentum equation such as equation B to obtain the guess velocities. From guess velocities, solve the pressure correction equation so that we obtain the pressure. And then calculate P from P star plus P prime. You need to do some pressure correction also because you obtain pressure correction from here. So once you obtain the pressure correction in terms of velocity, use that pressure correction to calculate the pressure again. Then once you obtain the pressure, you calculate U and V from their starred values using velocity correction formulas. We solve the discretized equation for the temperature if the temperature also influences the flow field. Treat the corrected pressure as a new gauge pressure for P star and return to step number 6 and repeat the procedure until the converged solution is obtained. I mean, you need to, at every, do remember at when you do the pressure correction, you annihilate the value of B, which means you solve essentially the continuity equation. So essentially what you do, you start with some pressure gauge. From pressure gauge you calculate the velocity gauge, then you check whether your velocity gauge is correct or not by using a continuity equation. If your velocity gauge is not correct, you do the pressure correction. Then from the pressure correction you obtain the velocity correction. Velocity correction, again you obtain the new velocities, again you check the continuity equation, and so on so forth. You keep on doing that. So that gives you the solution, converged solution once in terms of velocities and pressure. I'm just going ahead with simple discussion. Why we did annihilate this particular term? Why did we do away with this particular term? Now look at this particular term carefully. If this term would have been retained, it would have to be expressed in terms of pressure corrections and the velocity correction at the neighbors. See, velocity correction at the neighbor is also required to be. If the velocity correction at the neighbor is to be introduced, the pressure correction at the neighbor has to be introduced. And these neighbors will in turn bring in their neighbors and so on. So you can understand how complex this term would have become, and hence we have neglected this term. This will invite the pressure correction at all the grid points. So essentially you will require to introduce the pressure correction at all the grid points in the entire domain, which will result in the chaos and the equations will be unmanageable. Further, if I omit this particular term, enables us to cast P prime equation in the same form as the general phi equation. You could have seen this equation. P prime equation has got the same form as the general equation. So I can easily solve such kind of equations. So it doesn't make any difference if we even do away with this particular term. The word semi-implicit in the name simple have been used to acknowledge the omission of term summation over a summation of a and b, v and b prime. Indirect or implicit influence of pressure correction at the point under consideration is considered. So that's why we term this particular methodology as a simple methodology. So somebody is traveling and put on his mic. The fact that the mass source is zero everywhere is sufficient evidence that we have acquired a correct pressure field, and the actual pressure correction equation need not be solved during the final iteration. Do remember, in the final iteration you need not to solve the actual correction equation. This converged solution is influenced by the gauge pressure. Thus the pressure correction equation can be seen to be merely an intermediate algorithm that leads us to correct pressure field. Do remember, if you look at the algorithm carefully, we are trying to solve this pressure correction equation in between, which in itself is a small algorithm. And using that small algorithm, then we iterate to obtain the velocities. And then in sometimes some under relaxation or over relaxation is also used in the determination of the pressure correction. So there are certain equations available in the literature for pressure correction. So that's what is a solution methodology for the entire Navier-Stokes equation. Of course, we have not dealt with the energy equation, but then once you know the u velocity, v velocity, and solving the energy equation is quite easy. So we are not dealing with that. So this is a lead-driven cavity problem. We can create staggered grid like this, and then we can write down the boundary conditions and pressure. See, pressure correction boundary conditions are very important. So what are the pressure correction boundary conditions? See, we are also solving the pressure correction equation iteratively, and since we are solving pressure correction iteratively, we also require boundary conditions in terms of pressure corrections also. And how to write down the boundary conditions in terms of pressure correction, or how to write down the boundary conditions in terms of velocity correction, that is also important. For example, let us say given normal velocity un at the boundary, the normal velocity is always zero at the boundary because there is no flow across the boundary, so normal velocity is always zero. So un prime is always 0. When un prime is 0, I can say I have this equation as a velocity correction formula. This is my velocity correction formula. So if up prime on the boundary is 0, that means my dp prime by dx has to be 0. If this is 0, because this dp cannot be 0, as this is 0, my dp prime minus dp prime has to be 0. So this means my dp prime by dx has to be 0. Similarly here, vp prime is 0, vp prime is 0, it means my pp prime minus pn prime has to be 0. It means my dp prime by dy has to be 0. So thus, for pressure correction, we can, because my un normal velocity is 0 on the wall, because my normal velocity on the wall is 0, I can say del p prime by del n is equal to 0. So this is the boundary condition which we need to implement for the when we are solving the pressure correction equation. So for pressure correction equation, we use this boundary condition: dp prime by dn is equal to 0. The running indices for interior cells, and I will omit this. The boundary conditions can be written for left boundary: u is equal to 0, v is equal to 0. Again, pp prime 1 pp prime is equal to pp prime on the boundary is equal to pp prime of the inner cell. So that's a boundary condition for pressure correction. The same boundary condition for pressure correction is used everywhere. So these are the various boundary conditions. Only thing is that ui j max is equal to 1. That is, velocity on the upper boundary is u velocity, it is u naught. These are boundary conditions. The results are obtained. I'm just sharing with you the results which are obtained for 52 by 52 grid size. I have shown the results in terms of streamlines. The streamline plot can be drawn using various software. There are softwares like TechPlot is available to draw the. Huh? 1 second. Oh, sorry, there was a little bit of disturbance. So, so these are the velocity vectors and the streamline plots which I am sharing with you. You can see there is a small vortex which is formed at the bottom here. All the velocity vectors show the movement of the fluid inside the cavity in the clockwise direction, which is obvious because the top lead is moving in the positive x direction. We can also look at the u velocity contours. See, u velocity contours indicates the maximum velocity here. It is in x direction. The velocity on the boundaries is almost equal to 0. This particular portion represents the 0 velocity, and at the center we have some velocities, u velocities, which are negative in nature. Here I am sharing the result for v velocity contours. The v velocity is maximum at both the ends. This is negative maximum, this is positive maximum, and that is the obvious result. And on the horizontal surfaces, there is no velocity in the no positive u velocity. No, sorry, v velocity. We can draw the vorticity contours also. The most important result is this, which is given by, I mean, here the bench for this particular problem, the benchmark results are available in the literature. The benchmark results are provided by the author named Gia. It was given in somewhere in 1972 or so, and we are compared our result with that of the Gia. The dot represent the benchmark results, and the red, green, and blue line represent the results obtained for 12 by 12, 32 by 32, and 52 by 52. You can see if I keep on increasing the grid number of grid points, we obtained a better solution, which is comparable with that of the benchmark results. This is variation of V velocity along the vertical center line of the cavity. You can see this is the vertical center line of the. So here U velocity has to be maximum. Here U velocity has to be 0, and that's what is obtained. So U velocity at the bottom is 0. It is maximum, that is 1 at the top. And as you move in the upward direction, your U velocity initially goes in the negative direction, but as you cross 0.5 distance, half of the distance, your U velocity starts occurring in the positive x direction. This is positive. So this is what is the grid. Then you can also look at the variation of V velocity along the horizontal center line of the cavity. So the horizontal center line we can consider like this, and V velocity is plotted. The V velocity at both the ends is going to be 0, and that's what is obtained. V velocity here is 0 and here is 0. Then it goes through, and V velocity will be positive in this direction as I go positive, and then again it will drop down. The same is happening. It is again passing through 0, coming down to 0, and again I'm coming down to the maximum negative value and going to 0. So again, you can look at, if the grid size is 52 by 52, we get a better results for which are comparable with that of the results available in the literature. So thus I come to an end of the solution methodology, which can be used for solving the entire Navier-Stokes equation. When I say entire Navier-Stokes equation, I mean to say continuity equation, x momentum equation, y momentum equation, and even energy equation. We have tried to understand the solution methodology for all those equations, and we have also tried to understand how the results are to be represented to understand whether the finite volume methodology which we have used is working correctly or not. I think I should come to the end of the session. If you have any kind of questions, you're most welcome. The questions will be answered for 5 minutes or so. Am I correct, Professor?
Yes, sir.
Professor
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Very nice session, actually, sir.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
nicely conducted, and you
Yeah,
have
I know.
explained the.
I have gone little bit fast. I know it was because, but the time was very small, and I hope many of the participants are acquainted with the computational fluid dynamics, so they must have been able to understand few of the things which I have tried to explain.
Yeah, yes, sir. And I will recommend one more thing. If a participant can do by all this derivation by their hands, then it
Yes,
will be more easy for them to understand all those
I
things.
am sure, if I'm sure the slides which I will be sending to you, if you go through these slides carefully,
Yes, sir.
it will be very easy for you to understand the things from the books also. And many of the
Yes, sir.
things are
Yes.
crystal clear in the slides. So I'll be sharing these slides with you. I don't have any issue sharing with everybody. If you have
Sure, sir.
any
Sure, sir.
kind of questions, please go ahead.
Sir,
Dear
any difference?
participant. Yeah. Please go ahead.
Sir, difference between any collocated grid and staggered grid, sir? What could be what is the main difference, sir, in that?
Yeah, in the staggered grid, we shift the cell centers for x momentum equation on the horizontal faces, and in the v control volumes for y momentum equation, we shift the cell centers onto the onto the horizontal surface faces of the main control volume. In co-located grid, what we obtain in terms of a solution is the pressure, velocity, and temperature at the same point. In the case of staggered grid, the solution for u velocity, v velocity, and pressure is obtained at different points, not at the same location. Am I correct? Have I answered your question?
Yes.
Yeah. Any more questions, please? Dr. Shevatkar, I like to ask one question actually.
Yes.
Say, if you talk about the accuracy, say order of accuracy,
Uh-huh.
So right now here you have shown the effect of grid,
Yes,
but
yes.
the effect of say first order accuracy, second order accuracy. So that can also be helped. Nahi?
Yeah, that depends on your. I mean, how many number of terms you do take into consideration when you actually carry out the discretization. I have not touched to that particular point because my basic aim was to
Yeah,
explain
yeah.
explain what happens behind the screen. I mean, if the people are acquainted about the things which are happening behind the screen, they are able to use the software more effectively. That's what my intention was. But of course, the accuracy degree of accuracy can be increased by incorporating more and more neighbors. And that can be taken care when we do the Taylor series expansion. And in Taylor series expansion, if we incorporate more number of points, we can increase the accuracy of the various terms. I have not touched to that particular point.
Yes, sir. I just bought them. I just think कि what can be done if you have accuracy. Okay, no problem.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
participant, any other questions from your side?
I mean, in future also they can write questions to me anytime.
Yes, sir.
My email
I
ID.
will share your credentials to them also.
I'm sharing my email ID in the chat box. They can note down that. It is csevatkar@gmail.com. I have already shared it in the chat box. They can note down that. And anybody, if you interested with further learning, they can write to me. You are most welcome. I'm thankful to Symbiosis Institute of Technology for giving me this opportunity to interact with the people um, across the country. This has definitely helped me to enrich my own knowledge also by going through the same material again. So thank you very much, Professor Sonane. Convey my regard to your higher authorities also and convey my thanks to them.
Yes, sir. Sir, thank you very much, sir, for such a nice and smooth start of MDP,
Yeah,
where
it
we
was
learned a
a
lot of
pleasure.
the basic things,
Yeah,
so
it
that now
is
tomorrow they can go up to higher version of this thing.
correct.
So,
I wish
so
you all
thank
the
you very
best,
much,
all
sir.
the participants, all the best to all of you for remaining 4 days. I hope you will enjoy the learning. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Shall I leave
Okay,
the meet now?
tomorrow we'll start at 9:15. So Dr. C.S. Chetri from IIT Kharagpur will be joining. So he'll be talking on the turbo machinery stuff. So please join by tomorrow 9:15 onwards. Please share your feedback and attendance. I have already given the link. Okay. Thank you, Dr. Shevatkar, sir. Thank you very much.